Perfect. Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you very much. Good evening, and welcome to tonight's community consultation, community information session regarding the Kanata North Mosquito Program. This meeting is being hosted by the Councillor's Office. Before we begin, we'd just like to start with a quick land acknowledgement. Ottawa is built on unceded Anishinaabe Algonquin territory. The peoples of the Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation have lived on this territory for millennia. Their culture and presence have nurtured and continue to nurture this land. The City of Ottawa honors the City of Ottawa honors the peoples and land of the Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation. The City of Ottawa honors all First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples and their valuable past and present contributions to this land. Tonight's meeting will proceed as follows. We'll begin with a few opening remarks from your ward councillor, Kathy Curry. Then we'll turn to a presentation from GDG Canada. And then beyond that, once that's finished, the floor will be open to questions from the public. Individuals wishing to ask a question can do so by using the raise hand function or by submitting questions in the Q&A. Those raising their hands will be queued and we'll unmute you when it's your turn to speak, and you'll have about 2 minutes to formulate and ask a question. And then beyond that, we'll be alternating kind of back and forth between written and oral questions. To access the Q&A, it's just down kind of in the bottom right. If you click on more, where there's the kind of bottom right with the 3 dots, it should come up Q&A there, and you can click on it and submit questions that way as well, and we'll be monitoring that. But beyond that, I'll hand it over to Councillor Curry right now.
Thank you very much, Peter. Just thank you to everyone if you're watching either because you're here in person or because this is recorded and you're watching it at a later date. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about our Kanata North Mosquito Program. It is a successful program overall. We've been doing this since 2017, so about 9 years of this mosquito program. It certainly was a challenging time in 2016 and 2015 where we could not go out of our houses because the mosquitoes were so bad. So things have improved dramatically since then. So thanks to GDG and very specifically thanks to Joelle and to Richard and to Frederick for being here tonight and for all of the communication back and forth with the Kanata North Office and myself, all of the meetings and your quick response to residents who call in or let you know that there's more mosquito behavior near where they live so that you can go and figure out why. So we've really appreciated this relationship over these years and love that we start off every year letting people know what's going on, new residents who don't understand what the mosquito program's all about. So we really appreciate you taking the time every single year to help us all understand better what it's all about. So without further ado, we'll move to the presentation, and knowing that there are questions afterwards and you'll have contact information. If you have any questions after this presentation, you'll know who to email or call. All right, so thanks again, everybody, and I look forward to the presentation as well.
So, hello everyone. So my name is Richard Trudel. So I'm part of the GDG Canada team. So I am the entomologist and scientific advisor for the company. So I'm not by myself. I work with other people. So will let them present themselves. So I will begin with Joël Boudreau. So can you present yourself and what you do for the Kanata North Mosquito Control Program?
Thank you, Richard. My name is Joël Boudreau. I'm with GDG since 2018. I manage in the Ottawa region West Nile Virus Control Program, and I also help for the mosquito program in Kanata North. I'll let Frédéric present himself now.
Thank you, Joël. I'm project supervisor in Kanata North since last year, but I've been working in mosquito control since 2014. So my job is to make sure all the operations on the field are going as planned and are going well. That's it.
Thank you, Frederick. So I'm going to share my screen to let you see the presentation. So can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So welcome to this information session. So like we said, it's about the Kanata North Biological Mosquito Control Program. And you have the teams there that they are supervising this contract for the mosquito control operations. So for those who doesn't know, GDG Canada, that is part of GDG Environment in Quebec, but in Ontario, we have a division that is called GDG Canada. So GDG Environment, it's in the business for 40 years. So we have more than 300 employees during the high season, during the summer. And we have many municipal clients in Quebec and Ontario. So most of our contracts are about biting insects, black flies, mosquitoes. We also have contracts on the control of the spruce budworm. And lately, we also managed to develop a biological control tool to try to stop the invasion of the emerald ash borer. But today, we're going to talk about mosquito control. So why a program in Canada? So in Canada, so it's sure that, like Councillor Curry said earlier, it's mainly for having a better quality life outdoors. So knowing that when you have a lot of nuisance of mosquito, it's not really fun to go outside to have lunch, dinner, or have activities. So instead of applying insect repellents, so it's better to conduct the efficient mosquito control program. And also it avoid, well, since we are using larvicides, it avoid the use of adult acid, and these control tools are mainly chemical tools, pesticide. So what is the biological control of mosquito? So what do we use for the control of mosquito? So the biological insecticide that we use, it's Bacillus thuringiensis var. israelensis. So it's BTI. So it's the scientific name. It's a bacteria. So this bacteria once is ingested in the larvae, because we target the larvae. Once it's ingested, it gets dissolved inside of the insect, and it makes the insect die because of the destruction of the digestive system. So this biological tool is an ecological solution, like I said, because it's something that comes from nature. So it was found in the soil, and it's mainly efficient against mosquito, black flies. It also allows, when it's conducted for the right manner, so it can reduce the nuisance for 80%. And also, it's not something that is that have a long life in the environment. So there is a rapid biodegradation under the effect of UV. So there is no accumulation in the environment. So for those who might not know, so like I said in the beginning, there is different biting insect. So there is mosquito and black flies. And this program is for the control of mosquitoes. So if you see black flies around your property, so it's not part of the contract. It's mainly the control of mosquitoes. So to control efficiently the mosquito, so you must know very well the mosquito life cycle. So you have here the mosquito life cycle. So at the beginning you have the mating. So if we start with the adults, after mating, the female will oviposit the eggs on the water. After that, you're going to have the larval development, and then you're going to have the adult emergence that comes from the pupae. So it's the cycle. And usually, during the summer, when the temperature is around 20, 25 degrees Celsius, it might take 5 to 7 days for having all this cycle done. So for the control of the mosquito population, the stadium that is targeted is the larvae, because it's easier to treat the insect when it is concentrated in a small pool of water than waiting for the adult to get in the environment and go everywhere in every direction. So I introduced it a little bit earlier, but how does it work? BTI, Bacillus thuringiensis israelensis. like I said, it has to be ingested. So we spray it in the water, and the insect assimilate these little bacteria, and these bacteria will damage the digestive tract once because of the pH of the digestive tract. So it dissolves the bacteria and the little toxin, and it makes, like I said, the cavities inside the insect, and because of that, the insect will die. And this insect, this biolarvicide is exclusively efficient against dipteran species, like I said, black flies and mosquitoes. But if we have bees around where we treat, even though we treat in the water and they don't go in the water, so it's been documented that BTI is non-toxic for honeybees, and it cannot affect also the hive activities. So how does it work, mosquito control program? So there is different step that has to be respected during the season. So there is 4 steps. So the first step is the monitoring, because before doing treatments or doing anything, you have to evaluate the presence of larvae. So you don't put larvicide anywhere just in case there is an insect in the water. So there, at the beginning, there is monitoring. Once there is monitoring, we have to communicate information to the staff, to the GDG staff, and also to the municipality to express them what are the next steps and what we're going to do. Is there going to be helicopters? Is there going to be drones or just ground treatment? So the communication is really important before the beginning of our activities. So the main activities is the third step. So it's the treatments. So we're going to talk about it. And then when you do the treatment, you want to know did it work? So what were we in presence of? What kind of mosquito? So there is some analysis that are done following the treatment. So the first step, like I said, is monitoring. So for each place that we have to treat, we prepared previously a polygon in which we know where to treat, because we need to treat it with aerial treatment or ground treatment. So we know exactly where we have to put the larvicide. So that's what we do first, and then we walk this in the field to evaluate the presence of larvae and what is the size of the larvae, the age, so to document and evaluate the timing for the application. So it's what we do. We collect insect and then we identify them. So that's called the monitoring. So once we're ready for the treatment, so we have to communicate this information. So we have to reach the team in the field. We have to reach for the people in the city. So to let them know that within 24 to 48 hours, we're going to conduct treatments, especially if it's aerial treatment, because there is some notification that has to be made to the population. So that's part of the communication. So the main task after that is the treatment. So there is different treatment according to the type of larvicide. So we have liquid larvicide always with the BTI, the bacteria. So when it's liquid, we use sprayers like that. And when it's sometimes it's granular, when there is vegetation, so we prefer to use granular. So we use it with a blower. So the blower will project the little granules on which there is a BTI. And for the large area, so we use aerial treatment. So for this example, it's helicopter, but we also have drones for smaller patch of treatment. So what to consider before the treatments? Because if we want the treatment to be efficient, we have to do it in the appropriate environmental condition. So what we are looking for in treatment, if it's in spring or if in the summer. So we're looking in spring the pools of standing water from the snow melt. And the larvae, they develop in that kind of stagnant water. For the treatment to be efficient, we have to treat at a certain level of water temperature. So if it's too cold, the larvae, they won't eat. So like I said, it's something that has to be ingested. So if the temperature is too cold in the water, so they won't ingest and they won't assimilate the product. So we have to evaluate the temperature of water, so the larval development, like I said earlier, and the weather conditions. So we prefer to do the treatment when it's not rainy. So it might dilute the product. So that's for the treatment in spring. And what we have to consider for the treatment in summer, it's almost the same thing. So we are treating in the pool of stagnant water, but instead of water from the snow that melts, it's following rain. So when there is rain, there formation of stagnant water pools. So what happens also in Kanata, so we have the Carp river overflow. So when there's a higher level of the river, so it goes on the banks, and there is an overflow, and it's a good environment for larvae to breed. Same thing here. We have to monitor the water temperature, the larval development, and also the water condition. So these are the elements that have to be followed instead to have efficient result. So at the end, so we have the analysis of the treatment. So first, what we do, say we go back where we did some treatment. So as you can see, the little line is the surveillance track. So there is somebody with a GPS that walked this trail, and at each check, so they evaluate the presence of larvae and what is the percentage of mortality. So well, as you can see, with doing this evaluation, it helped us to document the efficiency of the treatment. We also do for the efficacy, to evaluate the efficacy of the treatment. So the goal of this treatment is to reduce mainly by 80% of the presence of adult mosquito. So we do some trapping. So there is some traps that are set up in the control area, and there is also other traps in the treated area and the control area. So we can compare where there has been treatments and compare it with sector without treatments. So we can see maybe in the treated area very few mosquito and more mosquito in the control area. So it's the second part of the quality control, which is part of the analysis. So that's mainly the information about the program. But for the people, the citizen of Kanata, it's possible for you to reach out for having information, and there is different type of information. If there is problem in certain area in the beginning of the season, of if you have issues or questions during the mosquito control program, if you have question about the West Nile virus, so I will explain you how to contact the right person to have the right information. So regarding the mosquito control program, so you have a toll-free number which is the bug report. So you have the number here. So since its presentation is recorded, you can find this number, but I think also the city will post it on their site to make it easier for you to contact or have information about the program. So for information on the mosquito control program, so that's the phone number, and there is also the email of GDG Canada. So you have the email here. So it's the easiest way for us to have the information, because sometimes we don't have maybe always somebody on the phone for taking your call. But if you write us, it will be easier for us to reply to you. So like I said, this information will be available on the City of Ottawa website. So now regarding the West Nile virus, since this program it's not mainly targeting the mosquito that will transmit the West Nile virus, so it's not really regarding us. So you have to call to the city of Ottawa if you have interrogation about the West Nile virus. So I want to show you now when there is a request from a resident, a complaint or something like that. So what do we do once we have this information? So the first step, so we add it to our map. So we have a GIS tool. So if you give us your address, so we can pin a little flag on your house and see in the surrounding where would be the problem. But mainly, if we do that, because this information will be assigned to the local coordinator, and this coordinator can call and meet the citizen. So there is the local team will perform the inspection to evaluate the presence of mosquito, and they will also validate if around the property, if there is stagnant water that hasn't been treated or new breeding sites that were not recorded. So and this information about the citizen request, so the city is informed about that in our weekly report, so they know how many people contacted us for having information or having a visit for us to evaluate the situation. But usually, like last year, we didn't have problem with the citizen request, but when there is too much calls in the same week, it's possible that we have a little bit of problem to contact everyone very sharply, maybe between 24 to 48 hours. So that was about it. If you have question, Joel, Frederick, and I are there for giving you more information. So I'm going to stop the sharing. So was it okay?
Yeah, thank you very much. Very
Okay.
much appreciate that. Very informative. Does anyone have any questions at all? Not seeing any questions. Yes, Councillor Curry.
I might, just because there's, a lot of people will watch the recorded version of it.
Okay.
So I want to ask a few questions that I think people might ask if there were more people watching right now. So one of the questions we've already received is, because no one is operating the golf course, that big golf course in the middle of Kanata right now, will you still be treating the ponds and the little waterways in there?
Yes, they have been treated already for the spring treatments. We don't have any denied access or nothing. We're doing as usual.
Perfect.
We didn't contact the owner this year because it seems the building where he was vacant. That's what the coordinator told me, but we're doing business as usual there.
Okay, very good to know. Another question I've gotten already is, someone asked me, they were running in the woods when the helicopter has already gone over and dropped some of the bacteria, the fungicide.
It's corn.
Larvicide. So someone was asking me, as it was falling, was that dangerous at all if it landed on them?
No, not at all. It's like fragmented corn with the product in it, but it needs to be in the water to start taking action,
Okay.
Otherwise, it's doing nothing. It's just like fragmented corn.
Okay, great. Another question I had was, is this dangerous at all for frogs and butterflies and birds and other animals that might be eating from or drinking from the waterway?
Maybe Richard, you want to answer this
Yeah,
one?
but usually on each label of the products that we use, there is a prescription. So at the concentration that we use it, and we don't need to put a lot to be very efficient. So at the concentration that we use it, it's not dangerous for the frogs. So even it's been documented because Kanata, they've been financing a research project at the University of Ottawa. and it was one of their goals to document the impact of BTI on the tadpoles. And the BTI did nothing. So they compared it with permethrin, which is a chemical pesticide. So it was a night and day between the impact of these two larvicides. And concerning the other insect, so like I said in the beginning, this BTI is specific to the dipteran species like mosquito, flies, and each insect they have receptor inside of their gut. So maybe a larvae of the spruce budworm and a larvae of the mosquito, they have their own receptor. So the bacteria BTI is efficient against larvae of dipteran, and the Bacillus thuringiensis kurstaki, which is efficient against the Lepidopteran, the butterfly. So it's really targeted. It's a really targeted larvicide. So there is no, like I said, at the concentration, at the rate that we use it as prescribed on the label, it's not dangerous for any other insect or reptilian or something like that.
Okay, thank you. And if anyone is interested in looking at that University of Ottawa study, we can direct you to that study so you can get more information on what Ottawa.
Yes, this work has been published, so you can, or I can send you the paper, or tell them to write me. I'm gonna send them the scientific paper that were published following these trials and studies.
Wonderful. I had some people ask, when you did the testing outside of the area and then inside of the area, what was the difference in the number of mosquitoes you found?
Well, this year we haven't started the test yet, so it will be depending on the years.
But other
Last
years?
year there was at some point during the summer there was a small difference because we had a very dry summer. There was a dry spell almost the whole summer in Kanata North, so the comparison was almost the same. But usually I think we have good results. I didn't check all the past years, but
yeah, I remember a year where there were, I think, 8,000 in the outside area that was not treated, and then inside there were 106. And I remember that year when it was very, very different from outside to inside. Another question I've gotten is, how come we have mosquitoes in Kanata, but an area like Barrhaven has no mosquitoes? What are they doing?
well, it depends on the wetland. If there's no wetlands there won't be mosquitoes. It's like places with a lot of mountains. Sometimes there's less mosquitoes. So it really depends on the wetlands.
No, thank you for that, Frederick, because, I have had to explain to quite a few people that Carp River along the side of Kanata and just how wet Kanata is, there's a lot of standing water in Kanata. We are not like Barrhaven. We are not like Stittsville. We are not like Orleans. There are other areas that are just as bad as we are, but it's not the same everywhere. That's why we started this program all those years ago. I'm just thinking, I had one other question. Someone asked me, we know there are really bad mosquitoes in carp. And so what about those? Are they migrating towards Kanata because they're not doing the program?
It's a good question. Usually the mosquito, if they find some blood meals around where they emerge, they will stay there. But it depends sometimes on the wind directions. So, but mainly, like every one of us, if we have food around, we won't walk a kilometer for food. And since the current of water is driving towards the carp, I think in the Carp River it goes toward the carp. So
Yes.
we cannot say that the larvae they come from carp and come here, but knowing that if there was too much current in the water, the larvae would drown. But anyway, so
sorry, it also depends on the species. Yeah. So you will have some species that will travel far and some species that will stay close to their larval habitat. So it really depends on. I know that last year we had a problem with the Cochlistidia perturbans, which is a species that can travel like over 6 kilometers. But we did a lot of new treatment this year, and hopefully it will work well. We have less of that species.
Okay, great. I think the one other thing I've heard from people is that, it's not treating black flies, but what about there's all these other little tiny flies that, just, they're really small ones. They fly in your eyes all the time. Does it
Yeah,
treat?
it's Cymbidium jennings. But these flies, they come from big rivers like the Rivière des Outaouais River. But to treat that will cost like a ridiculous amount of money. So usually the city, they don't do it.
And
And
they
they're
don't
not
bite?
biting, so they don't bite.
Okay.
Well, they can occasionally bite, but we don't consider them as biting flies.
No, they're just annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Really
very
annoying.
annoying. That's true.
I can't really think of any other questions. I really want to thank you. I know that residents last year and the years before, when they have found there's a lot of mosquitoes in their area, they called, you went out. And it was interesting that sometimes you found standing water that nobody realized was there, and over a wheelbarrow that was full. People have all kinds of little spots behind their homes they don't realize are these little pockets of water. We had one situation where there was a big construction site, and the construction they'd moved all this dirt into an area that had then held on to all this water. It was right behind the existing home. So there are some of these unique situations, but people were very pleased that you went out and you found these and you figured it out. So okay, well, I don't see any other questions. I'm hopeful that people will watch the recording. I'm positive they will, because many people watch our recorded sessions on every topic. So I really appreciate you being here tonight and taking your time to give us the start of the season explanation and information. So really appreciate that. Thank you all, and thank you for the viewers that took the time to watch this and to be in person. We can
Thank you very
all
much.
have a good night.
Thank
And
you, everyone.
a good
Thank you,
season for the
everyone.
week.
Yes, good luck.
Okay, bye-bye.